Turns out it's not just the Magic Necro and the Magic Nightblade that can bomb. It's the Warden too, a Stamina Warden. Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from Deltiasgaming.com, here with the new build for the stamina-based Warden meant at wiping groups with massive speed and huge burst damage. You're going to want to pick up this build if you're liking those big one-shots on a stam build. This video is going to cover the usual suspects, so we're going to go over loadouts, flexible gear options, skills, and so forth, and also explain the Update 33 changes with hybridization making the Stamina Warden even stronger. Because it solves one of the main issues, and that's burst healing. More on that later. Let me walk you through what I've created and explain how it works. Timestamps are below if you wish to skip ahead, and also like and subscribe, leave me a comment, and make sure to come watch me at twitch.tv/Deltiasgaming, where I play these builds live. Let me give you an overview of the Warden so you can understand what makes them so powerful in terms of damage, and that's actually due to their passive abilities, not necessarily their active ones. The number one most important passive to understand is Advanced Species coming from the Animal Companion skill line. This dictates what you do and why and how you set your bar up. Increase your damage done by 2% for Animal Companion ability slotting. That 2% amp increases your damage flat, and it can stack with other amps, making you hit extremely hard just for slotting abilities. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Not to mention the Fighter's Guild passive, Slayer, increasing your weapon damage and/or spell damage by 3% for each Fighter's Guild ability slotted. That also stacks. Along with Bird of Prey, giving us 5% damage increase coming from Minor Berserk and another 2% for slotting it. Essentially, you have a bunch of damage amps that you put on your front damage dealing bar, load them up, and go for a massive nuke Dawnbreaker and just start spinning. Not to mention the changes for hybridization really are going to impact the Warden in Update 33 coming to PC on March 14th. Let me explain. This graphic shows and tells you kind of what's going to happen in the game. Essentially, the way the game's looking right now is one specific stat, like let's say weapon damage and max stamina. Now it's going to look dynamically for whatever is highest. What this means essentially for the Warden is your secondary or burst heal is usually Arctic Blast, which scales in effectiveness off max health. Thus, you have to stack a ton of max health to be very survivable and tanky. Whereas other classes can stack tons of weapon or spell damage and be very tanky because their abilities scale a little bit more effectively. Now the Warden will have this same thing, meaning your weapon and spell damage scaling so high allows you to use other heals that you hadn't been using in the past. Take, for instance, Enchanted Growth. This costs a ton of magic, but has a very high tooltip, and I imagine a lot of Stamina Wardens will switch out of the high HP Arctic Blast playstyle and use this. So just understand, the Wardens are really good in damage, but they're not that good in survivability in terms of stacking a bunch of HP, where other classes can get away with a lot less. Update 33 coming in March, this build's going to be even more disgusting, and that's why. So what we're going to do with this build is we're going to load up our bar with a little bit higher crit damage, tons of HP, we're going to have a lot of off-stat healing coming from magic, tons of weapon damage, and penetration. If we take a look at this gear chart, this shows you fully buffed. 41,000 HP with the 500 stack Balorgs, I'm hitting 20,000 pen and almost 8,000 weapon damage. Get ready, we're going to do some big slaps. We'll briefly cover the skills first, and number one is Subterranean Assault. You're going to cast this, and it's going to launch out after 3 seconds and do another launch afterwards. This is your main damage ability, and kind of cast it like a damage over time. This is actually better than the Necro's ability because it doesn't require a target to cast. So a lot of times I'll kind of hide behind a pillar or something, cast it, then wait about a split second, turn the corner, fully charge heavy attack, and bang. And that's part of your combo, is you're trying to land as much damage at Subterranean Assault as possible within a short window. Subterranean Assault, fully charged heavy attack, Dawnbreaker, spin. More on the combo later. Next ability up is Camouflage Hunter. Primarily, a reason I slot this for is the Fighter's Guild passive is also really good in stealth detection. I don't use the Betty Netch, and the primary reason I don't use the Netch currently is Plague Break is running so frequently that it will blow up me and/or other players. I don't see it that advantageous in its current form. So the Bull Netch, which is the stamina-based one, is great for sustain and acts as a cleanse, but I consider the Camo Hunter ability currently just a good damage amp and counter gank in what I go with currently. Consider this your flex spot if you want something else. Next up, Bird of Prey. We talked about this earlier. You can activate it for a burst of speed, which is nice, but we're going to have another ability on our back bar for that. Really, the benefit is just slotting this to get 5% extra damage via Minor Berserk and also another 2% via our passive. Next ability up is kind of like our filler slash main spammable when subterranean assault is down, and that's rending slashes. It's a simple single target damage over time. Combined with our proc set Plague Break, it does decent dot pressure, but you're really not a dot pressure build. This is just something you can span in between to do a little bit more damage and pressure. Next up is Whirling Blade. This is spin to win, still really good. It acts as an execute 50% or lower. It's going to start scaling, but it does massive AoE damage, and that's exactly why we're going to use it. So we're going to try to land our combo, getting someone below 50% health, hopefully about in the 20s, 25, and then we're going to start spinning along with a couple dot pressure. They should die pretty quick, and they're going to go boom. And then lastly, we have Dawnbreaker of Smiting, the good old staple, dealing physical damage, conal, AoE, and stuns them. This is our main source of stunning opponents. Again, the trick with this is landing all your bursts at around the exact same time, so Dawnbreaker gets them down to execute, Whirling Blades finishes them, and Plague Break goes boom. A back bar, I go with a 2H, and primarily for swords and defensives. I prefer this playstyle over the 2H front bar Dizzying Swing. Dizzying Swing doesn't work in lag, it's hard to land, and it's very frustrating. Try it if you like, this worked best for me. Ice Fortress is our first buff on our bar, and it's simply just going to give us a lot of armor and minor protection, making us more tanky. Maintain this up on your back bar at all times. Rally is really good for increasing our weapon damage and giving us minor endurance, so a lot of good resource sustain. And then you have a couple different options on what you slot here. I did Shuffle and Race Against Time. Shuffle comes from medium armor and requires you to wear 5 or more. The benefit of that is AoE damage reduction is really good defending bombs, but it costs a ton of stamina, which I want to use for big, huge Whirling Blade spins, not so much using it to cast and get the AoE damage reduction. Race Against Time provides the other buff that Shuffle does, and that's the removal of snares and immobilizations. The benefit against Race Against Time, though, is going to give us crit damage by 10%. So, on our front bar, we actually have decent critical chance rating, so the increased crit damage and allows us to be a little bit more bursty. Plus, this costs magic and gives us on-demand major expedition, so it's very good and what I found to be best. Arctic Blast is up next. This scales off of max health, so in order to make this heal effective, you're going to need a lot of max health. This is the skill that you're going to flex out depending on when you're watching this. If you want to run a lower HP pool to have a little bit more damage, if that's possible, you're going to change this skill out for another in-class ability that can heal you. Again, Hybridize, update 33, depending on when you watch this, I would swap this out. But it works really good for right now. Next ability up is Resolving Vigor. This is just a simple heal over time, and what I usually do is pair Arctic Blast, click it once, and then do a Resolving Vigor to get a good amount of heals per second. And then I look at my Rally and recast that for a big burst heal. These 3 combos is how you survive. Now your back bar ultimate, you have a lot of choices here. What I found helpful is Temporal Guard for, again, the Sigic Order, which is your oh crap defensive ult. If you don't like the Sigic Order, and believe me, it's a pain in the butt to get a hold of, you can slot a couple different things. Permafrost is a really good group utility ultimate where you can click it on your back bar and then go on your front bar and go super offensive with major protection when you're running into big, huge keep fights. And then another good skill is Enchanted Forest. This is your oh crap low-cost ultimate and what I use constantly on my sword and board, and I didn't have Temporal Guard. Another really good choice. So those are the skills. Very simple. On our back bar, we're going to maintain Ice Fortress and Rally, and then use Race Against Time as we Rambo in, and then a couple of heals. Let me show you in-game what the combo looks like on a dummy so you kind of get a sense of how this works. Alright, here's the combo. So we're going to start in combat. The first important thing is if you can get a light attack off on your back bar, you can proc a lot of weapon damage via the weapon damage in chat. So make sure that if you can, while you're in combat, to get that going. So we're going to pre-buff. Armor, of course, is up. Race Against Time. We can get our HP a little bit higher with Arctic Blast, right? So on our back bar, while we're in combat, we're going to hit Race Against Time, crit damage buff. We're going to hit a potion for Clever Alchemist. Sub-assault, and then wait a split second, and then charge in, and then bang. So your goal here is to land a sub-assault right as your heavy attack lands into a Dawnbreaker, and then start spinning. So if you see the animation for sub-assault, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3. So what that means is if you actually just fully charge heavy attack straight away, your heavy attack lands a little bit sooner. So you basically have 1 global cooldown. So usually what I do is I go 1, global, fully charge, bang. So I usually charge in with speed like this or another global cooldown, maybe on my back bar or a bar swap, and it usually syncs up the timing really, really good. So again, 1 or half a second wait, fully charge, bang. Remember, PvP is all about timing that into the smallest window you can. So getting the timing down and landing that all together and start spinning, that's your combo. Now we're going to switch to the meat and potatoes, and that's the gear, which is probably what everyone wants to know and see. And there's a couple different options you can run, and let me explain why. The number one primary 5-piece gear set is, wait for it, well, you know what it is, it's Plague Break. Dealing direct damage, which is most of our damage abilities, is going to turn them into a plague carrier. Basically dealing disease damage, and if they cleanse the negative effect, it's going to go boom. The more people that are around, the more boom it goes. And right now, I don't know how it's working, but it seems like if anyone dies, it goes boom. So you can get the big, huge plays, almost like Vicious Death on a magic build with Plague Break. Plus, the dot pressure is good. It's just an incredible 5-piece set. It's not going to have as much weapon damage, but the proc set in these big, huge burst fights is exactly what you want. Some alternatives that you can run, I'll give you a few here. Dagon's Dominion. This works in no proc, no CP campaigns, and it's going to increase your weapon and spell damage for your AoE effects, which is most of our damage abilities. Another good alternative for crafters out there is New Moon's Acolyte. 9 trait and just a decent weapon damage setup if you need something until you get Plague Break. And then lastly, Kind Marcher's Cruelty, a more tankier set, but it can be very, very good with some group utility if you're looking for something from the overland. So that is our front bar options. Let's talk about the Monster Helm, and it's good old Balorgs. The too long didn't read here is, if you save up ultimate, when you cast an ultimate, it's going to give you spell damage and weapon damage, physical pen and spell pen, equal to 23 times the amount for 12 seconds. Essentially, you get a 12-second huge burst window. The more ultimate you save up to 500, the harder this hits. So that's how I got to almost 8,000 weapon damage and 20,000 pen with 500 stack Balorgs, meaning the maximum amount of ultimate. If you use 200, obviously it's going to be significantly lower. But it allows you to save, build, and go for an absolute nuclear missile. Love, love, love this monster set. There's also some really good flexible options in here, and one that I really like for counter ganks for running Imperial City is Zol's the Ever Wakeful. This comes from IC, Telvar, and the Elven Gardens districts where you kill the boss to get the helm. It's basically going to give you a, oh crap, when you break free, stun everyone around you. Great for counter ganks. Good old Engine Guardian is another one. Really good for resource sustain, very, very simple. Scourge Harvest, or used to be called Malabeth, is extremely strong if you're trying to survive 1v1. Because you stack a ton of max HP, Scourge Harvest's heal is based off of that. So if you're stacking tons of HP for Arctic Blast survivability, this is really good. And then lastly here, Magma Incarnate. Really good all-around damage, sustain, resistance, and group utility. But I would go with Balorgs for the big, huge boom. Now we have some options for the back bar setup, and I'm going to go with the most damage producing but the less safe and work my way around that. Number 1 is Clever Alchemist. When you're in combat, you drink a potion and you get 670 weapon and spell damage for 20 seconds. This is not always easy to use, but this is how you get the 8,000 weapon damage setup. If you're in combat, you pop that and you go in for a big, huge DB Balorg's nuke. Again, you're not going to be nearly as survivable, but you'll crunch a lot of people. Couple of different options in case you want something different, and one I'd highly recommend for survivability is Wretched Vitality. This is a craftable set and comes in the Deadland DLC and only costs 3 traits. So when you're on your back bar, if you cast Rally, that which gives you a major and a minor buff, it's going to give you a lot of magic and stamina recovery. Those two things stack on top of each other, and Rally alone applies both a major and a minor buff. So you don't have to do some complex setup. You just go to your back bar, cast Rally frequently, have 100% uptime on insane resource sustain. Do not sleep on this set. Next setup you could use is Powerful Assault Back Bar. This would be really good for a group play. So if you're running a small group, 4 players, you're super sweat lords, and one of you runs Powerful Assault, it's going to give you and your groups 307 weapon and spell damage for 10 seconds. So basically, you go to your back bar, hit a Vigor, charge in, not as much as Clever Alchemist, but it does have 100% uptime, and that's the advantage. And then next up is Daedric Trick Daddy, what I love all-around good defensive set. It doesn't work as good as a Warden like it works on a DK, but it's something that's craftable and gives you major buffs that are absolutely amazing and super survivable. So you're going to pick one of those depending on what you want. Big, huge one-shots, Clever. Crazy survivability, Wretched Vitality. Or some group utility, Powerful Assault. And then next up, you have the Mythic choice. So you're going to have a front bar 5-piece active, you're going to have a Mythic in the slot, and a back 5-piece active. Now, I actually go with Ring of the Wild Hunt. People will tell you not to go with this. They'll actually tell you to run the Swift traits instead. So Swift traits, 2 of them, will give you about 12% increased movement speed in combat, where this gives you 15. This is true, and it might be more efficient and effective to do that. But me personally, I love Wild Hunt because it's not only the increased movement speed in combat, but it's out of combat. I just zip around like crazy and allows me to survive. I use the Warden not through burst healing, but through mobility, and I still like Wild Hunt. So Torque is a really good one for constant resource sustain, so you could drop Wretched Vitality and just run Torque. You could also run Death Dealer's Fate, believe it or not, because remember, a lot of our skills scale in effectiveness off of max stats, specifically max health, so this is going to be really good damage and survivability on a stamden. Pale Order if you're playing absolutely solo in the open field. Malakast Band of Brutality is going to lower your crit damage done. Doesn't really fit so much in here. And also Markan's Ring of Majesty is really, really good all around. It's going to give you a lot of weapon damage, 200, and it's going to give you 2,000 armor or more. So that's probably the go-to if you want to go with the Swift on your jewelry. And that will leave one spot for you, and I'd go with Armor of the Trainee. Typically, you just buy this from the trader at CP 160 or higher. You're just going to have to retrade it because it comes in the training trait, so make sure to do that. So here's kind of what my setup looks like when I put it on with Plague Break and Wretched Vitality. This was probably what I'd run if you were playing purely solo or in a not coordinated group. So I go with 5-2, so 5 medium, 2 heavy. The chest reinforce is the most important one, especially to gold out. It's going to give you the most armor, most bang for your buck. And then I go with a ton of well-fitted. The reason I go with well-fitted over Impen, I have a high HP pool, which acts as my source of mitigation, and I don't believe Impen is a very valuable trait in its current form. I would much rather have a crap ton of well-fitted and do a bunch of roly-polies, or even a bunch of divines and do have even more weapon damage than a little bit of drip Impen that doesn't do much for you. Also spend some gold and get the prismatic glyphs on your chest, head, and legs. This will add a lot of value across the board. The weapons are pretty obvious here. I go with maces, sharpen, and escapist poisons to immobilize and possibly set up my combo for folks. Backbar 2H sword, and the reason I use a sword is due to the passive giving me a little bit of healing on the backbar with the powered trait. Weapon damage enchant, and in the jewelry, you can go all infused or the 2 swift on the Wretched Vitality or the Powerful Assault, whatever you go with, and drop Wild Hunt if you want. Or go the Wild Hunt route, all infused weapon damage, and that's my preferred choice. Just play around with the back bar, and that's really the setup that you want to run. A lot of well-fitted, huge max HP, and really high weapon damage when you're ready to roll. Now let's talk about the miscellaneous things, and the race I would pick is the Orc. The Orc is really, really fast, so it plays in the pace style that I really like. It's going to give you max stamina, and it's also going to give you a little bit of health when you deal damage, and a little bit of max health. Plus, you're going to get weapon and spell damage, and that's the really important one. And it's going to reduce the cost of sprint by 12% and increase the movement speed by 10% when you're sprinting. So popping a Birds of Prey, a Race Against Time, holding shift down with Wild Hunt, zoop, you're out of there. And that's how I survive in this build, through the Orc race choice. Attributes, in my current form, the way I'm playing it, I would go 64 health if I'm using Arctic Blast as my primary ability for healing. However, in the future, in the hybridization, you can drop your HP about 30 HP as long as you're right around 30,000 to 32,000 HP and dump the rest into stamina. That will give you a little bit more damage, and I would use the other heal, Enchanted Growth, rather than Arctic Blast. Update 33 and beyond there. All right, for the champion point section, in the blue warfare tree, I go with Biting Aura for AoE damage, Ironclad to reduce damage from direct damage abilities, Untamed Aggression to boost my weapon damage, and then Mastered Arms to increase my direct damage. So big AoE and also some big boost to weapon damage. In the red tree, I go with Boundless Vitality, Slippery, Fortified Pain's Refuge. Boundless Vitality increasing my HP, Slippery giving me a free CC break, especially in big lag battles. And then Fortified increasing my armor, and Pain's Refuge for damage reduction. Now, Pain's Refuge I consider my flexible option, and I put in Celerity if I want even more speed. The green tree, Gifted Rider, War Mount, Liquid Efficiency, and Steed's Blessing. Well, gang, that's a build video. Let's show you a little bit of the gameplay now. All right, what we got? Tater Tots over here, Tater Tots over. Why are you both picking on us? All right, fine. You want these problems. See right there with my sub like that? That's how you gotta land it. Oh, they're both lit up. Got one. So you angle it here. Got another one. Angle it. They're out of here. I got a DB up now, so let's pull back. Sub. Fully charged now. Got him. Pull back. Go down. Up, 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 up. Zol's got him. Okay, now we're pulling back. Okay, Shuffy's up. Bugs is up. You gotta go, brother. Brother mine! Who is healing you? Not that, not healed enough! It's a trap. DB's up, DB's up. And now! Oh! Bang! That's a bomb! There we go. Here we go, here we go. DB, oh, they're just, boom! Deleted. So now I got enough for a dawn breaker, so I'm just gonna try to line it up with my heavy attack and my sub. 3, 2, 1, hammer down. See? Got him up and spin him. There we go. Good, good, good. So that's the combo, trying to line your sub along with a fully charged heavy attack to proc your enchants. Here we go, here we go. DB now. Bang! Come on, blow him up, blow him up! Yep. Now, 3, 2, 1, go. Hit it, hit it, hit it! Oh! So, we don't know what it is and what IP it is and so forth, but they're developing one. Don't take the cube, by the way, just in case. Oh, Zol's got him! Zol's got him! There we go, there we go, there we go. Oh, that ganker don't like Zol's, does he? 1000 stack, baby! Payback! I got another DB ski. Move, move, south, 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 south. South, south, on the compass, compass, compass. Okay. With me, with me, with me, with me. Crown, 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 crown. Trust me, trust me. We're pushing back to the bodies in 3, 2, 1. Sorry, Shazam. I'm down. I'm on you. I'm on you. Protect Shazam. Protect him. Protect him. Chunk. Crunch. Yeah, yeah, crunch him. Crunch him. Now back, 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 back. Again, again, again. Come with me. Come with me. Trust me. We can drop off. Hold block. Walk around these rocks. Walk around them. We're baiting them. Yep, yep, yep. Good, good. Are they tunneling? Yep. Punish them. Punish them on a rock. Punish them. 3, 2, 1. Joe, Joe, hammer him. Bang! Oh, yeah. Okay, good, 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 good. Okay, no, they're spreading, spreading. Back, 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 back. Oh, we got cold fire us. All right, same thing, same thing, same thing. We're going to stay mobile, stay mobile. Well, gang, I hope you like the Stam Warden one-shot Warden, if we will. It was based off my one-shot Willy build back in, I don't know, 2015, 14, when I was a noob Nightblade. Hope you got something out of this. It's a different, unique take on playing the Warden, and I've had a whole lot of fun. Not as much fun as my Necro, but it's up there. So again, come check me out on twitch.tv/Deltiasgaming. Hit that subscribe, like, and leave me a comment, as it really helps my videos grow. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.